biggest motivation is I'm a business person just like most of you are in this room. I owned a business for 33 years that had service trucks, had vehicles and employees that had to travel all over the place. That business was in compression. We compressed all types of gases. About 8 years ago, I got upset one day right after, I think it was Hurricane Katrina, and my fuel prices went up, and I was trying to survive like any other business. How do I keep paying my employees? How do I keep them happy with benefits? How do I keep my customers happy with reduced costs? What's my biggest expense in my company? And one of them was fuel. Well, to top that off, very dear members of my family, namely my daughter and my son-in-law, both serve in the military. And you wake up every morning and you listen to CNN, and you listen to Fox News or MSNBC, and you hear about what's going on in the world. And everyone in this room is a taxpayer. We don't get a free ride. Part of our taxes go towards paying for my daughter's guns, bullets, and ammunition, her body armor, her flights to the Middle East and back and forth. And everybody knows somebody in that situation. Well then, on the other side of the coin, every one of us as an oil consumer, when we talk slides in detail after a while, we'll talk that between Canada and the US, we provide a small portion of our oil. Although we're the biggest consumer, we produce the least amount domestically. The bottom line is we buy 67% of our oil from our enemies, the very people that are shooting right back at the people that we're funding. Regardless of your political persuasion, whether you think we should be there or not be there, whether you think we're fighting for oil or we're not fighting for oil, or we're fighting for true political causes. I don't care if you're Tea Party, Republican, Democrat, whatever. The reality of it is, in the United States, we're funding both sides of our wars, our side and the other side. The only way we're going to stop that is by looking into all of these alternative fuel choices. And that's my mission in life. Sure, I'm doing this to make a buck. That's the American way. I like to build fuel stations. I want to eat every night. But it just, I got sick in my stomach every morning when I'd get up and I'd think, how much of the enemy did I fund today with my business? And there's absolutely no reason to do it. We import 67% of our oil from people that don't like us. We use 9% of the natural gas that's under our very feet. We have 91% in the ground capped that we're not using. It's domestic, it's abundant, it puts Americans to work, it put Pennsylvanians, Ohioans, and West Virginians to work. Why are we putting Arabs to work? I don't care, I'm not politically correct. You know, CNG has a history in this country. It has a history in the world. It's not a new thing. We're not on the leading edge of this technology. Some of the very countries we consider to be third world countries are 20 years ahead of us in their CNG usage. We're catching up. Why? Because we've been fat, dumb, and happy too long. You know, we're going to have all the oil we want. It's always going to be a fair price, and we'll use it, and we don't care about conservation. Well, 1914, we had CNG compressors, we had CNG dispensers, and we had vehicles running on CNG. What happened? Oil's cheap. Oil was abundant, it was plentiful, and it was a little less problematic. Look at the world. We're not even in the top 10 of the countries that use CNG or LNG as a motor fuel. Many of the countries we would consider, Iran, Pakistan, India, Thailand, Argentina, some of those we call third world countries. They're 30 years ahead of us in CNG usage. Why? Because it made sense for them. I consulted on a job for compression 12 years ago for Saudi Aramco Oil, for a company in Virginia. You know what they did? They woke up one morning and they said, all this natural gas we're blowing in the air to get to the oil we sell to the Americans, what if we put it to use? They nationalized the CNG program in Saudi Arabia and converted all their infrastructure to run on CNG so they could sell us more oil. Back to the fat, dumb, and happy. Okay? Steady increase in natural gas vehicles worldwide. If you look at this, here's the United States down here. We've basically flatlined since 1991 to currently 2011. We're just now starting to take off. If you look at all the other countries in the world, they're ahead of us on their usage. There's no problems. It works. It's effective. It's clean. It's better. It's cheaper. These are the number of CNG stations in the United States today. Some are limited access, some are public, some are private. Let's talk about CNG compared to conventional fuel for a moment. If you look at Canada, Mexico, and the United States, there's approximately 300,000 places you can buy gasoline, diesel fuel, and your conventional fuels. That's from the sheets, the get-go, the export fuels, the truck stops, everything in between. In order to get from that 1% to 2%, we need to build approximately 60,000 stations that accommodate CNG to get to 20%. Just to get 20% of the market. For me, that's a lifetime goal. I'm never going to see that happen. There's a lot of people that aren't going to see that happen. But as Tim said earlier, we owe it to our children and our grandchildren that 30 years from now, 40 years from now, we're not still dependent on foreign oil. My daughter and my son-in-law have spent most of their adult life in the Middle East. I don't want my grandchildren doing that. Flat out, that's my number one reason. Okay, where we are, we have the dedicated, the bi-fuel, and the dual fuel that everybody's elaborated on. This is how our fleets are comprised in the United States. It's mostly light-duty vehicles that we see, the pickup trucks, the cars, the Honda Civics, the mid-sized trucks, the garbage trucks, the school buses, and now the heavy-duty trucks are coming on because the technology's there to support it. This just breaks that down a little further, how many type of each vehicle in the market sector. It doesn't mean a whole lot to you as to what sector is the most. This is just kind of to illustrate it's available to everybody. It works for each and every sector that we're in. So if you drive a Honda Civic, or if you drive a pickup, or a bread truck, or you're a fleet owner with 5 or 6 vehicles, or you have long-haul tractor trailers, this works for you. I have a station on I-80 in Brookville, Pennsylvania. We opened it 4 weeks ago. That's our latest project. I currently have, in 4 weeks' time, I have 8 tractor trailers that I never heard of before. They never heard of me, and they're long-distance haulers. One guy comes in from Long Island, stops in Brookville and fuels up, goes to Indianapolis, Indiana, fuels up there, comes back to Brookville and fuels up, goes to Long Island and fuels up. He went from 7.5 miles to the gallon in a Peterbilt with a 600 cat with a dual fuel conversion to about 12 miles to the gallon on combined fuel. Reduced his cost by 25 to 30%, an independent hauler. He's just happy as could be. And that's somebody I didn't meet 3 months ago with the idea of building a station. I'm getting walk-in business at my stations. It's coming that fast and that well. How many in this room pay too much for fuel? We all do. Yeah, arm, leg, or both. That's some of my daughter's handiwork there. I think it's kind of a unique approach. But 120 years supply of natural gas fuel in CNG, LNG, whatever you want to use, or propane, since propane's coming from deep Marcellus gas now. If we could snap our fingers right now, and every internal combustion engine in sight, whether it be a motorcycle, a car, a boat, a truck, a train, we could convert it tomorrow. We have a 120-year supply under our feet. Right now, today, proven reserves. We can't exhaust it in our lifetimes or our children's lifetimes. So why aren't we doing it? Back to the fat, dumb, and happy thing again. Okay? It's the only explanation there is for it. It's renewable. We're creating more natural gas than we can possibly use. We have a 120-year supply under our feet. The biggest thing is we can control the prices. We don't know what a barrel of oil is going to cost tomorrow or 20 minutes from now. Let alone somebody says, we're going to throw a missile into Israel, or we're going to throw a missile into this country. We could be looking at $10 diesel fuel tomorrow morning. Natural gas is a stable product where the supply far exceeds the demand right now. So this morning, it's around $4 an MCF, as we're all used to seeing it, 1,000 cubic feet. 1 MCF of gas at $4, that means roughly the raw cost of a gallon equivalent of fuel is about 50 cents coming out of the ground. If the price raises 20% overnight, goes from $4 to $5, that's 12 cents at the pump, not $2 or $3 increase. And the gas companies and the utilities are looking at this as, we have to get that gas to market. We spent all this money drilling for it, fracking for it, doing everything we have to do. If we can't sell it domestically, it's going over to overseas in the form of LNG. Now, there's the real thing that doesn't make any sense. We pay $17 for 1 million BTUs of oil, but yet we're going to export something that costs $4 for 1 million BTUs that's far cleaner and better. Why? There's no need to do it, no reason to do it. We can create a lot of jobs for U.S. workers. My CNG stations, the products we produce and sell, 97% of what goes into our CNG station is made in the United States. A few parts come from Germany, a few parts come from Canada. Of that 97%, 83% comes from Pennsylvania, Ohio, and West Virginia. I'm putting Americans to work, I'm putting local people to work, and I'm buying local product, including the gas that's coming off the ground. That translates into not only can we solve all our world crisis problems, we can solve our home economic problems as well, just by charity starts at home, and help starts at home, and supporting your local business starts at home. PA is home to the second largest natural gas reserve in the world. You look at what's come out of this tri-state region over the past. If you look at Carnegie and Frick and Tesla and Westinghouse, the Industrial Revolution that changed the world. This is the next Industrial Revolution that's coming. And what I tell people, one of my favorite sayings is one of our customers that we talked to a while back said, you know, I have 3 ways to look at this. I can either get into alternative fuels in the form of CNG, LNG, and propane now. Well, I'm a leader in it, and there's a big margin to be made, and there's a benefit, and the return on investment is going to come quickly. Or I can sit back and do nothing, and I'll be forced to get into it after all my competitors have, just so I can keep up. Or the third thing I can do is just fold up shop, close my doors right now. The long and the short of it is, you're going to be on the cutting edge and you're going to make it happen, or you're going to be one of those guys that's scratching your head and saying, what the hell happened? That's the only 2 choices in this industry moving forward. We can generate over 250,000 jobs for our region in the next 10 years. $20 billion a year in value added to the U.S. economy. Of that $20 billion, the lion's share will come right to this tri-state area. Over half of it. The infrastructure is already in place. We don't have to add more tankers to haul the CNG. Pipelines are already there. We can plug a CNG station in virtually anywhere there's a gas pipeline that you already use for your furnace and your hot water heater and your stove. Imagine the possibilities. If this works, for me, it'll work for you, but it also works for everybody. Let's take a convenience store worker, somebody who works at the local Sheetz, and that person spends $400 a month to get to work on gasoline or diesel fuel or whatever they drive. We can roll everybody back 30 years in prices to where they save $200 a month in fuel. Now that's on the small end of the scale. One convenience store worker. You take somebody who owns a trucking fleet that you said 16,000 gallons a week? 18,000 gallons a week. If I can show him a way to cut that to 9,000 gallons a week, what's that do for his company, the people he supports upstream and downstream of him? There are simply no losers if that happens. We promote our own economy from within. No one has a stranglehold on us as to where our resources come from and the whole supply chain we're in control of from start to finish. That's where we were 100 years ago when the Industrial Revolution happened. How more fitting that it shouldn't come from this same area. Okay? CNG is also a renewable source. We're taking fossil fuel out of the ground that we knew it existed before, we just didn't have access to it. We're also able to access pools of that energy that we couldn't access before. And now, we're even taking it from landfills. When we build a landfill now, we're literally grinding the garbage up, mixing it with water and microbes, and parking it between 2 layers of plastic and putting drain pipe in there so we can harvest the gas in 5 to 10 years. We have landfills that we're building fueling stations for that are literally taking the trash out of the ground, remining it, and putting it in a new landfill because it's a valuable natural resource like coal. One of the landfills up near Williamsport that we're building a fuel station for, they got a permit to dig up the old 15 acres of the landfill that wasn't installed in accordance 30 years ago, remine that product, and put it in the new landfill because it's going to make so much methane that we'll turn it into fuel. There's just literally no downside. We can strengthen our economy, we reduce that dependence on oil, we help meet our climate change goals by the chemical composition of natural gas. For every BTU of diesel fuel you burn, you generate 28 carbon atoms. That's the particles and the soot and the black smoke that come out of the exhaust pipe. That's what makes the acid rain, that's what kills the fish, that's what hurts our lungs. When you do the same thing with gasoline, it's about 24 carbon atoms per BTU. When you do this with CNG, it's 1 carbon atom per BTU. It's 2,700% cleaner for our atmosphere just by particulates, not counting anything else. There again, the environment wins in all this. We can use waste to power vehicles, homes, make electricity, less waste, renewable domestic fuel. What we do, we build fuel stations. We partner up with people who want to build fuel stations. We do complete turnkey solutions as far as finding people like FIDA Energy Solutions and partner up with them to convert the vehicles, and then we build the fuel station. We're working on a project right now where not only is the company going to convert their vehicles to natural gas, but they own some of their own natural gas. They're in the asphalt and the stone business, so they're going to take the gas and use it to run their asphalt plant, reduce their dependency on oil, put it in their vehicles, and they're going to truck natural gas to other people who want to do the same thing. So we're taking multi-level approaches, putting micro turbines at the asphalt plants that'll generate the electricity so we're not using coal or heating oil to generate our electricity. That's what we do.